What is it like to be a part of a self-motivated team in a modern company working towards making a real, tangible difference in the world? The show today is multilingual, and we focus on the human interface with new technologies within the caregiving industry. The episode today speaks to what it is like to shift careers away from a larger, strictly hierarchical work structure towards a smaller organization that offers much clearer oversight and more appreciation for individual work. Where does heart and humanness factor in when all of these things come together? The conversations today tacitly pose the question as to whether what could be seen as abstract technological advances offer the real prospect of actually bringing us closer to our humanity and to each other. Life is Feeling Counting the Ways explores in this episode 14 with yet another true-to-life dimension of feeling that uniquely defines the human experience by also confronting us with what it is not. Our guest for today says in German, nichts ist beständiger als der Wandel. And that means nothing is more constant than change. Human resource management, program management, and healthcare count to her credentials. And it is with great pleasure that I present to you today dearest friend and study colleague, Ms. Nadine Distler. So, Nadine, here we are again. I've been hoping to do this with you for quite a while, and I'm very happy to be here today. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, thank you. And I'm looking forward to this experience.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, I wanted to make this a little bit different today. And you told me a little bit about your job, and I was fascinated by the things that you're working with. Now, I'm going to start this conversation. It's not really an interview, it's a conversation by asking you, what is the most exciting thing or the most inspiring thing about your job, what it is you're doing?
The most exciting thing is the passion I feel by the people I work with.
Yeah.
And the passion I experience with my target group.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
which are caregivers.
Caregivers. Yes. Well, we speak about change, making a difference. And do you feel as if you are making a change in the world with what it is you're doing?
I hope so. I experienced that change is possible, and I have a slight idea that I can be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is important in life.
You are now in charge of what I would say a leadership position. Yes. What's it like being in charge of a team that's motivated, inspired to make change and make the lives of other people better? What's that like?
It's absolutely great. Honestly, it's great. And it's great because it's not really a leadership position. Every single individuum bringt die eigenen Kompetenzen ein und sucht sich seinen eigenen Platz und bewegt Dinge und möchte Dinge vorantreiben.
Ja, jetzt haben wir ein bisschen Code-Switching gemacht, jetzt sind wir wieder in Deutsch gelandet. Und das ist auch völlig okay. Da sage ich ja immer, dass die Podcasts sind, sag mal so, multilingual. Die meisten Leute, die entweder English Coach Podcast, Living the Language oder Life is Feeling, Counting the Ways zuhören, die sind multilingual. So es ist völlig okay, wenn du das machst. Aber das hast du auch sowieso.
Ich hoffe
reibungslos gemacht. Ja, voll schön. Also, die Leute sind auch selbst motiviert. Die suchen nach Möglichkeiten, sag mal so, einen Unterschied zu machen.
Ja.
Und es fühlt sich gut an.
Es ist absolut inspirierend, weil jeder das Beste einbringt, weil there is not much need for leadership. We work in project groups, so everybody takes responsibility for his or her topics.
Yeah.
And that's very special. And we are a virtual team, so we don't see each other that much. We met up in April.
In April.
The first time all together, and it was like meeting the family.
Okay, that's good. Now, when you say that, I mean, I'm sure the listeners must be kind of wondering, maybe they got an idea of what this is about, yes, from looking at the title, but we're going to get there pretty soon. I wanted to start with that question first, but I know that you've worked at other places, so
Yes.
when you say that this is what it's like working here, people have their own motivation, you don't have to push them too much, it is a leadership position, but in many ways it also isn't. Do you say that from a place of other experiences that you've had? Yes. It's obviously different from other experiences you've had.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely different. Before I worked in the automotive industry. This was one of my first jobs, and it was quite hierarchical, structured, and everything took a lot of time. So you made a presentation, then you waited for at least 1 week, then somebody said, well, you can go further, then you waited, then you contracted people for doing a good job because you were not supposed to be in the front line. And that was quite strange, but it was a good start. And then there was a shift in my mind because I thought, this is not a job I want to do for my lifetime. And there was a job announcement for the social sector. And I'm working in consulting and personal development. This is what I did the last 12 years, 14 years.
Yes.
And I had the chance to build up personal development within a small company that had not, das hatte einfach nicht die Strukturen und die Kraft wie ein großer Konzern.
Mhm.
Und so bin ich im sozialen Bereich gelandet und habe viel, viel mehr Wertschätzung für meine Arbeit erfahren.
Mhm.
Das war der erste Schritt.
Okay, so du meinst, gerade weil es kleiner war, du hattest dann die Möglichkeit, wirklich, also erstmal innerhalb des Unternehmens einen Unterschied zu machen und auch spürbar zu machen.
Genau. Die Wege waren viel kürzer. Und der persönliche Kontakt hat eine große Rolle gespielt. Und das hat auch vieles ermöglicht und viel Raum für Innovation und Veränderung geschaffen. Because people wanted to make a change, to try something. There were not so many restrictions. It was okay when something went wrong, and I was still young. I was 28.
28, yes. That's when I started studying here again.
When I took over that job, and I had it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then, and this is what happens in life, ich habe nach einer neuen Herausforderung gesucht. 10 Jahre waren genug. Und dann kam ich dahin, wo ich jetzt bin. Und ich bin jetzt zwar immer noch in einem Unternehmen, in einer Organisation, und zwar im Diakonischen Werk Baden, also sozialer Bereich, kirchlicher Träger, ganz andere Welt vielleicht für viele. Und hier ist Innovation möglich, weil wir ganz viel Projektarbeit machen.
Okay. Also Schluss ist mit Suspense, ne?
Ja, genau.
Wir sagen endlich, was das ist. Okay, diakonische Werk. Erzähl mal ein bisschen von was man dort macht. Tell me.
Also, das diakonische Werk kümmert sich eigentlich um Mitgliedseinrichtungen in den Bereichen Altenpflege, Pflege generell, in der Sozialwirtschaft, im Bereich Beratungsstellen, also von Suchtberatung über Wohnungslosenhilfe bis hin zur Behindertenhilfe, Eingliederungshilfe nennt sich das, glaube ich, heutzutage, über ganz viele kleine Träger und ist dafür der Dachverband und macht Angebote zur Weiterbildung, zur Unterstützung. Was ich mache, hat damit wenig zu tun.
Okay.
Ich bin in einem Projektteam, das ist pulsnetz.de, und wir machen Projekte im Bereich digitale Entwicklung, dass sich soziale Unternehmen digital weiterentwickeln, mit KI, ohne KI. Und wir bedienen auch nicht nur unser Bundesland, sondern insgesamt 3 Bundesländer, weil wir in diesem Projektteam auch aus unterschiedlichen Unternehmen zusammengesetzt sind. Und das ist ganz besonders. Und schon alleine hier sprengen wir Grenzen.
Wow, ist krass, wie du sagst jetzt, mit KI und ohne KI, als ob KI sich schon fest etabliert hat. Ne? Also ich meine, so viele Leute reden erst seit kurzem darüber nach, ne? Also, oder ja, darüber. Ne? Und spielt es dann eine große Rolle? Also Artificial Intelligence in deiner Arbeit?
Artificial Intelligence?
Ja.
Yeah,
Das meintest du doch
part of it. That's part of it. But it's not as new as you think.
Well, I know that it's been around for a while, but I think most people are just getting the idea with, the rise of ChatGPT. Everybody's having access to it. But I think artificial intelligence has been around for quite a while, in our phones, on our computers,
exactly.
Anticipating our next moves. For
Google
little
Maps, suggesting you the next, nice spot for dinner.
Prompts and suggestions based on what you've done before. Yes,
exactly.
Yes, it's always
online banking.
Yeah.
The chatbot that leads you through the process.
Yes. So it's nothing new to you then.
It is not really something new to me, but I think people do not have in mind that they already use or, are already confronted with artificial intelligence.
Yes.
For quite some time, but it was never so outspoken as it is now with ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, yes, everybody's talking about it.
People are frightened.
A little bit, yes.
And I'm frightened or a little bit scared as well because I don't know how far this development will go. But it brings also some very good developments for people in the caregiving sector.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not going to pretend as if I even sense what these developments are. I would have to ask you to tell me what these are a little bit more. You have a much better idea. But, I think what a lot of people are scared of is the decision-making function. Let's say an autonomous machine making decisions about people's lives. That is the big scare scenario that a lot of people are thinking about. Most of all, yeah.
I'll give you a buzzword, ethic.
The ethic. Oh. Well, yes, you might ask the question, are these machines capable of ethics at all?
Partly.
Partly there. Some people also said, she's somebody I know. She is a computer scientist and she says that artificial intelligence actually doesn't exist.
It's made by people.
Of course. And we tend to forget that, and in the automotive industry, of course, we do a lot of automation. So, you are used to that. And that's a lot of what artificial intelligence does.
Yeah, artificial intelligence, the basis for it is feeding it with data. And you decide on the data
that you put inside. Yes. Well, all right, since we've touched on artificial intelligence, yes, I think our listeners are interested in knowing exactly how that factors in. How does that play out in your work? Or, what tools do you use it in?
I go one step back
Okay.
for answering this question. The project is called Regionales Zukunftszentrum KI. And this project has finished on end of December 2022.
2022, yes.
Exactly. And then we gained another project, still Zukunftszentren für den Bereich Pflege und Sozialwirtschaft. And now it's called Mutig, Mensch und Technik im Gemeinwesen, which sounds a little bit weird, I guess. But it's more open-minded because it has not only artificial intelligence. What did we do over the last maybe 1.5 years? We had a beautiful track of digitalization, how we called it.
A truck of digitalization.
Yes. We were a quite feminine project group, so we called it Trudi. Trudi.
That's the name of the truck.
Yeah, that's the name of the truck. Track of digitalization, yeah. Trudi.
Ja, schön verniedlicht.
Yeah, and it's easier, and we love our Trudi, yes, for sure. And we went to social organizations, primary caregiving organizations, Pflegeeinrichtungen, and showed what kind of help digitalization, artificial intelligence, and technical devices can offer for their daily lives, for the work.
Okay, so you are showing different tools, if I understand you correctly, to people who are working mostly in the Pflege industry.
Yeah, exactly.
So these tools are maybe things for accounting, things maybe medication administration. What else? And physical things like physical labor as well?
For sure. Also.
Yeah, like what?
Exoskelette. For reducing back pain.
Exoskeleton. So you strap it onto your back.
Yeah, exactly. You strap it on your back. And you have it with and without motorization, I would call it. And it helps, and it's quite easy. There is nothing like artificial intelligence on it, but it's technical. And when you look at the industry, it is used already for quite some time. In
warehouses, perhaps,
exactly.
For lifting heavy things.
Exactly.
Yes. What about appointments, managing appointments for doctor's appointments, for example, or managing prescriptions, for example? Yeah.
This is what will come. Because there is now I have the English word not, die Schnittstelle.
Interface.
The interface is missing. But when we look a little bit forward, there is this buzzword telematic Infrastruktur. And this should connect doctors and organizations to make data transfer, prescriptions, the way to accounting easier. This is what will come in 2024, actually 23, 24. It is already on the road, but not implemented up to now. But everyone is looking and thinking about how will this work? Can you give us some ideas, examples? And yes, we had something on board to show how it works, to make virtual appointments with doctors, to get like important or sensitive data on a secure way to the specialist, for example. This is what we did. And also we talked about it. What are the risks? What are the challenges within the process?
And the rewards, of course.
Yeah, for sure. And was immer ein Problem ist, was ist, wenn die Technik nicht funktioniert?
Life is Feeling Counting the Ways is an I, Antonio media production, self-sponsored and independent, and brought to you in association with English Coach Podcast, Living the Language. This is where we explore some of the secrets, insights, and lived experiences of real people. The show is essentially an art project where you get to garner for yourself everything that could be interpreted as practical advice from the achievements, skills, challenges, values, and attitudes of the compelling personalities featured here. You can also get involved in a meaningful, uplifting way by using the feedback links at www.lifeisfeeling.com. In this second half of our conversation for episode 14, we dive even deeper in to explore the creative tensions that exist when humanness and cutting-edge technology collide. Feel free to visit the full show description by following the link in your podcast player or simply by visiting lifeisfeeling.com, where you can, among other things, simply share your thoughts. If you're already subscribed to both of my shows and you like this episode 14, the only thing I would ask you to do is to share it with a friend. So then, without further ado, on with the show.
That's a very good question. Well, that's where, German ingenuity, German quality, Empfindung comes to the rescue. Yeah?
Yeah, but internet is down,
Well, maybe we can make our own internet.
It might happen.
Intranet.
So we were talking quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very interesting because people, Pflegekräfte, haben sich mit dem Thema auseinandergesetzt, haben ihre Ängste geäußert, haben gefragt, was können Lösungen, wohin geht der Weg in der Zukunft?
Mhm.
Und das sind Fragen, die haben wir nicht beantwortet. Wir haben die Wege aufgezeigt, wohin es generell gehen kann, aber nicht, welches Produkt optimal ist. Das war nicht unser Job. Unser Job war zu sagen, so kann die Zukunft aussehen. Wie wollt ihr mitgehen?
Verstehe. All right. Trudy drives through Germany.
Drives through Baden-Württemberg, Bayern und Nordrhein-Westfalen.
Okay, and shows all these new tools that are possible to make the work easier, make the work more efficient, and so on. Yes?
I have a problem with efficient.
Efficient, okay, well, efficient, yes. Well, I can understand, and I am also at a loss. I'm trying to find a more fitting word. But efficiency, yes, because we're dealing with people here.
Exactly, and that's the point, and that makes the difference. You can say that technical issues, whatever, give you more time with the person, more quality time. That might be an idea.
That sounds like, that sounds to me like a goal, but we studied together, and what I studied was business, and I know that I do not want to sound like a cynic, but I know that at the end of the day, there are key performance indicators,
for sure,
which usually include measurable efficiency as something that has to be taken into consideration. That leads me to many questions. For example, the financing of this, of course, efficiency is something that can be more and more not really ignored, but less playing less of a critical role the closer you get to government.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as there is stock markets and shareholder value involved, then you have to start speaking of efficiencies. And I can understand why you would say it's a word you have a problem with, because I also, even though I studied business, I have a problem with the word as well, because I also studied sustainability. But this is not about me. Yes, you have a problem with the word efficiency.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean.
Because people in the social sector are quite driven by time issues,
Mm-hmm.
by a lack of personnel staff, Fachkräftemangel, and they are highly motivated to care for their patients. And what takes the most time is documentation. And this is what you need for the government, more or less, or for the critical structures who prove you and
they check
how your organization is working. And this is why efficiency is some kind of a critical word for me. Because the main goal is to take good care of people, gute Versorgung, Ansprechbarkeit, Zeit für den Menschen, and this goes totally against the efficiency.
Es lässt sich nicht so leicht auf so ein Excel-Tabelle so eintragen oder einlesen. Yeah, I know. I think I understand what you mean, but it is a challenge because even for me as a teacher right now, I'm teaching integration courses. Sometimes I teach English for business and so on. My biggest challenge, or the thing that's the biggest turn-off to me, is the administration that sometimes seem to exist only for itself.
Yes.
And it forgets, it goes through the world with blinkers, just reading Excel sheets and forgetting the human element that is, it doesn't allow itself to be so easily measured, but it's the essential difference to the change that you started this conversation with, the change that you want to make. It's in the people. So okay, go ahead.
But if you give people no time for change, no time for thinking, then change is not possible. And this is what technical support or artificial intelligence can help you with, to give time again, at least experienced time. Erlebte
Quality
Zeit, gefühlte
time.
Zeit. Gefühlte Zeit.
But I sense a small paradox here, because we're talking in the same conversation about humanness and artificialness, which is the artificial intelligence and technique and the tools and also the robots and so on that we're working with. And that in itself, I think, is a challenge, no?
It is.
Because people, as soon as they see this, I imagine you can probably tell me about, and this is a new question, because, you've touched on many things and, we can go down many rabbit holes, but tell me what it is like when you go into a town, for example, maybe a small village in Germany, and you arrive with Trudy, with all this Technik. What is the first response you get from, let's say, the experienced people who work in Pflege? What's the first response usually? Honestly, yeah.
There are different responses. Normally the visitors planned, so people know that there is someone coming and they know more or less the topics. So it's about their job, it's about feeling better, working more healthy, structuring time better, whatever. They know some of the key facts. But first, people are a little bit frightened because it's Technik, and it has nothing to do in the first moment with the human aspect. They think exactly what you said. Wir müssen noch effizienter werden, aber wir haben schon keine Zeit. Und wir sind doch nicht zu ersetzen. Niemand kann eine menschliche Berührung ersetzen. Das kann kein Roboter. Das ist menschliche Berührung und sozialer Kontakt ist nicht ersetzbar, weil da mehr passiert als nur die Tätigkeit, die ausgeführt wird. Und es gibt Vorurteile und es gibt viele Fragen. Und was das Ganze spannend macht, ist, dass Menschen in Gruppen zu uns kommen und miteinander reden und auch ihre eigenen Erfahrungen austauschen. Also ich gebe jetzt ein Beispiel mit KI, Sprachdokumentation. In der Pflege muss man ganz viel erfassen. Den Zustand der Person, was man schon erledigt hat an Pflegetätigkeiten, wenn sich vielleicht an den Vitalzeichen etwas verändert, die Medikation, die gegeben worden ist. Und das ist bislang meistens passiert indem man Dinge auf seine Hand oder auf einen Zettel geschrieben hat und dann wieder zum Computer zurückgelaufen ist, um sie nachher einzutragen. Das ist dumm. Weil es kostet Zeit, ich muss mir Dinge merken. I have to keep everything in mind, which is not possible because I have a lot of interruptions during my shift, during my doings, actually. Best thing would be to document directly in the room. And this is only possible if I have a mobile device, which is not quite often the case.
Mhm.
And the easiest device is a mobile phone because everybody can use it.
Mhm.
It's like elderly people, also Menschen über 50 benutzen WhatsApp, Instagram, um mit der Familie in Kontakt zu bleiben. Facebook ist sicherlich ein Thema. Jüngere Menschen nehmen alles auf TikTok-Videos auf und sind natürlich noch ein bisschen versierter im Umgang oder ich glaube, es ist mehr Gewohnheit. Und die Grundkenntnisse, also eine WhatsApp-Nachricht über zum Beispiel eine Sprachnachricht zu senden,
Ist schon da.
das ist das, was man nutzen kann, um zu dokumentieren. Also die Grundfunktion, ich drücke auf den Microphone-Button. And then I can document directly in the room. And with artificial intelligence, I can do this even so I'm not a native speaker. The artificial intelligence knows my language melody, can put it in correct German because documentation language is German. We are in Germany. And the interpunctation, is it right?
Interpretation?
Interpunktion.
I'm not quite sure what you mean. Explain what you mean.
Kommasetzung.
There's the punctuation.
Punctuation. Is made correctly as well.
Okay.
And it goes directly in den richtigen Reiter der Dokumentation, also
Yes.
Vitalzeichen zu Vitalzeichen. Und das ist spannend, weil ich eben auch Menschen mit Migrationshintergrund viel einfacher und viel schneller dokumentieren lassen kann. Und der Bewohner ist gleichzeitig mit dabei und ich muss das Zimmer nicht verlassen. Das heißt, ich habe mehr Zeit in diesem Moment. Und die künstliche Intelligenz lernt von jeder Person, die spricht. Sie lernt Dialekt, sie lernt Sprachmelodie, sie lernt, was bei Russisch-Deutsch zu beachten ist. Und das erleichtert das Leben, es schenkt Zeit und es schenkt Qualität. Und das ist ein Beispiel, wie man Dinge vereinfachen kann, was schon geht, was aber in der Branche noch gar nicht so viel genutzt wird.
Verstehe. Alright, also ich wollte wirklich sehen oder hören, wie das aussieht. Und du hast gerade von einem Mobile Device geredet und das auch sehr gut verglichen mit WhatsApp. Ja? Touchscreen Device, da kann man ja so ganz leicht bedienen und so weiter. Ich verstehe das. Ich meine so verschiedene Input-Methode, Voice, Typing, was es sein mag, Voice-over-Text und so weiter und so fort. Aber erzähl mir was gibt's da noch? Du hast von diese tolle Exoskeleton geredet. Ne? Erzähl mal von dieser anderen Sache. Du musst
dir das vorstellen, wir probieren alles aus an dieser Gruppe. Also wir ziehen Exoskelette an, wir ziehen unterschiedliche Exoskelette an. Wir machen in unserer Trudis ein Pflegebett. Das heißt, wir können die Handgriffe, die man auch in der Einrichtung macht, die können wir auch nachmachen. Und dann üben wir miteinander und reden drüber. Was war gut, was war nicht gut, was hat sich gut angefühlt, warum glaube ich, dass es für mich nicht funktioniert.
Du hast früher gesagt, dass der menschliche Touch, das war sehr touching, ja, also gesagt, also menschlicher Touch kann nicht ersetzt werden, es ist unersetzbar. Ja. Und das finde ich schön. Eine Freundin von mir ist Ergotherapeutin und ich kenne mittlerweile vielleicht 3 Leute, die das machen. Und ich werde jetzt nicht sagen, was das Unterschied ist. Ne? Ergotherapeutin, die helfen dann dabei, beweglich zu bleiben, dass man so die alltäglichen Sachen beherrschen kann.
Ja,
ne?
nach Schlaganfall zum Beispiel.
Ja, ganz genau. Wie könnte eure Technik helfen dann bei der Ergotherapie?
Ich habe da ein gutes Beispiel. Ich habe ein Produkt für Virtual Reality dabei, das genau in dem Bereich ansetzt, nämlich nach Schlaganfall die motorischen Fähigkeiten wieder zu trainieren. Und als Therapeut kann ich auf einem Tablet die Schwierigkeit einstellen, kann die Fortschritte sehen und kann dann jemandem eine VR-Brille aufsetzen und dann gibt es eine wunderschöne Übung. Ich gucke jetzt wahrscheinlich ganz inspiriert. Blasen zerplatzen lassen mit den Fingern. Das heißt, man muss Zeigefinger an Daumen und Ringfinger an Daumen und das kann man mit Farben steuern. Und so kann ich die Feinmotorik trainieren, wieder trainieren oder daily basics, like what have you to do first to make dinner? Open the fridge, wash the potatoes, put the potatoes in the water, start heating the water, boil it, put
Remember
the
to
potatoes
turn it
out,
off.
remember it. Yeah, and this is something you can train on yourself as well. So a therapist is not only the therapist, but also the advisor, and you can do things on your own, and you don't need a therapist all the time. And the progress you make is individual. So not everyone is on the same level
Of course.
after a disease or whatever. And it takes more or less time, and so you can practice and train by yourself. This is something I think is very great. And you still have the connection.
So you're saying then, if I understand you correctly, you would offer a device that do I say the patient?
In that case, the patient.
Yes. Uses on their own
Yeah.
when the ergotherapist is not there to train different things.
Exactly. Or it can be also begleitet, can also be begleitet. Or someone else can help if you don't get appointments. This is also a fact right now. And I think these are good developments.
Yes. Speaking of appointments, again, I find it exciting what you said earlier because, again, I have another friend who works for a company called Samedi, I think. And they do appointments. I know they focus on, I think, prescriptions and appointments for hospitals.
Okay.
And I could imagine, from the little I know in my Unwissenheit, I could imagine your company partnering with a company like this. I don't know, maybe even already are in contact with. It's called Samedi, I think so. Yeah. And I learned a little about it. The same idea you mentioned as well about security of data and let's say networking, all of the information having to do with maybe even moving patients from one hospital to the next. And all of these things, doctors tracking, documenting, and making records basically accessible and workable.
This is a very interesting field, but for my project, it goes too far.
Okay.
The focus is on small and medium organizations, KMU, kleine und mittlere Unternehmen, because they don't have the money to get some consulting programs or to pay off for it. And this is where our support goes first.
Good.
Ich denke, das ist wichtig, weil große Unternehmen, die IT-Infrastruktur ist deutlich besser. Und bei kleineren Unternehmen, viele stehen noch im Bereich der Digitalisierung am Anfang und überlegen sich, was muss ich zuerst machen, was macht Sinn und was bringt sowohl den Bewohnern als auch den Mitarbeitern am meisten. Und an dieser Stelle setzen wir auch mit dem neuen Projekt an, das jetzt seit Anfang des Jahres gestartet ist. Kliniken sind ganz speziell. Die sind wie kleine Fabriken in sich. It's almost a closed system.
Yes.
Und die Schnittstellen werden sich mit der Telematikinfrastruktur noch verbessern nach außen. Also what is interesting is if someone from elderly care, whatever home is coming in the hospital to get more information, it's like when can I pick the person up again? Are all medical things done? This is more important.
You told me about what it is that inspires you so much, and again I will repeat where you said the human touch is unersetzbar, yes, or unsubstitutable for our English listeners. I want to know, when are you coming? When is Trudy coming to Berlin?
Trudy was in Berlin.
When?
Last year.
Okay.
Last year, a few times. And this year, I guess it's not possible, but we are connected with the other Zukunftszentren in Berlin and Brandenburg, and we are in touch. And if someone wants to meet us, we are open.
Okay.
And what I know is, but we still have to plan, Trudy was last year on Altenhilfe-Messe in Essen und an der Konsozial in Nürnberg. 2 großen Messen, wo wir zu sehen waren und auch zu sehen sind. Und es waren viele Menschen da und haben Virtual Reality in unterschiedlichen Formen ausprobiert und ein bisschen gespielt. Aber ich denke, wir werden sicherlich einmal in der Projektlaufzeit in Berlin sein, schon fürs Bundesministerium für Arbeit und Soziales, das der Fördermittelgeber ist, zusammen mit dem Europäischen Sozialfonds und versuchen natürlich auch hier mehr zu machen.
Ja, ich frage, weil also die Leute, die ich kenne, die arbeiten hier in Berlin, ja, und ich finde es auch spannend. Ich würde es auch mal sehen. Ich habe ein paar Videos gesehen und so weiter und so fort. Aber, just to, we're kind of closing off now, Thank you very much for all the information, all the sharing that you've done and the authentic feeling that you have, brought to this conversation. But just again, for anybody who's listening, if someone is out there now, maybe someone who has your target client, how would they find you?
On the Internet.
Of course, but where and
Always
how?
On the Internet unter pulsnetz.de oder mutig.pulsnetz.
Pulsnetz.de. Right.
Puls wie der Herzschlag.
Okay. Wie schreibt man das auf Deutsch? Pulsnet. Z.de.
Pulsnetz.de.
Okay, gut, verstehe.
Genau, und ansonsten, wenn jemand auf Messen ist, meine Kolleginnen sind auch gerne da. Und ich habe viele Kolleginnen aus unterschiedlichen Verbänden, unter anderem von der Hochschule Hof, die technisch versiert sind, vom FinSoz, dem Sozialverband. Und von der Contact, einer sozialen Unternehmensberatung, und auch die Contact hat einen Standort in Berlin. Also wir sind ansprechbar und wir haben so ein schönes Formular, glaube ich, auf der Homepage, wo man uns Nachrichten hinterlassen kann und auch immer Antwort kriegt. Manchmal nicht ganz so schnell, wenn wir alle unterwegs sind, aber wir bemühen uns, jedem gerecht zu werden. Und vielleicht für mich noch ganz wichtig, weil du mich gefragt hast, was mir so am wichtigsten ist.
Ja, so haben wir angefangen.
Dass die Menschen in der Pflege gut arbeiten können und lange arbeiten, weil was wir alle vergessen ist, wir werden auch alle alt und irgendwann vielleicht pflegebedürftig und brauchen Unterstützung und jetzt ist alles cool, aber der Blick in die Zukunft lohnt sich manchmal auch.
Ja, ich denke jetzt an meine Mutter und meinen Vater, der vor kurzem gestorben ist, ne? Und ich bin weit weg. Ich muss ja Ja, I don't know. Also ganz großen Lob an meinen Bruder jetzt geben, weil er schafft ganz viel jetzt. Also ich meine Mutter ist nicht gerade pflegebedürftig, aber ja, es würde schon einen Unterschied machen, wenn ich da wäre und so weiter und so fort. Also ich mag schon Gedanken darüber, auf jeden Fall ganz viel, ne? Und immer mehr. Nadine, gibt es noch eine Botschaft, die du so in die Welt schicken möchtest?
Klatscht nicht nur für die Pflegekräfte, seid nett zu ihnen. Sie haben einen harten Job und tun ihr Bestes.
Alright, also, ich bedanke mich. Das war wirklich schön. Ja, und toll. Ich habe auch ein bisschen gelernt. Ganz viel gelernt eigentlich, ne? Und ich möchte mich wirklich bei dir bedanken. Ja? Und vielleicht können wir das nochmal machen. Dankeschön.
Danke für die Chance. Es war mein erstes Mal.
Alright, so let us see. Is it still recording? Ja, guck mal, 49 Minuten. Das geht alle.